Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Texas Road. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning and what you're drinking. Get your questions in. We're going to get to those here in a little bit. We got a lot to talk about. And guys, normally, I say it's 60 days till kickoff. Tell us who your favorite number 60 is. We'll visit it later in the show. But today we're going to open talking about 60 days because number one, there's one main guy, obviously, at number 60, guys, but 60 is a loaded number overall.
It really is. It used to be the number at the University of Texas. Tommy Nobis, look, I wrote an article this morning, my dad loved Tommy Nobis, thought he was, everything a football player should be. Ended up, there are many things that he did in life, I think that are important, but at Texas, he is famous for a couple of things. One is stopping Joe Namath. It was a team stop on 4th and goal against Alabama in the Orange Bowl to preserve a victory for the University of Texas. So he fell. He was Paul Bunyan against Joe Namath, right? He chopped his axe and brought him down. But also, Jerry, this is interesting. Back in the 60s, you couldn't play freshmen. And so he started 3 years at Texas. Also in the early 60s, there was no such thing as, platooning. So one player had to play on both sides of the ball. So you basically had a starting 11, and I think you got one guy that could be separate or something like that. So that's how the early 60s started, and then platooning came in. Well, Darrell Royal decided that, okay, that's great that now we can platoon our players, but I'm not going to substitute for Tommy Nobis on either side of the ball. So he started on both offense and defense, went on to become the first ever pick by the Atlanta Falcons. As I was doing some research this morning, and I'll be honest, I know there are people that watch this show that remember him vividly. I do not. I'm not of that age. But I was doing some research on Tommy Nobis. He started a foundation in the 70s, Jerry, back when it wasn't popular with athletes to start foundations. Nowadays, everybody has a high school player could have a foundation, right? Mm-hmm. Back in the 70s, athletes didn't really do that much. Tommy Nobis started a foundation in Atlanta that helped disadvantaged, mentally and physically challenged people find work. And that foundation is still running as of today and has helped thousands of people find work. And there's a lot of things to be said about him. That may be the best. He gave back at a time when it wasn't normal for athletes to give back and built something great. He sadly passed away in 2017. I'm told that I read that he had grade 4 CTE. I had actually interviewed him probably back in 2006, 2007. You look, great player, great human. It's one of those things that happens in life. But great Longhorn. I was of the age when Britt Hager and Brian Jones wore the number, Jerry. Both of those guys were tremendous. Britt Hager led the team in tackles, I think 3 straight years, something crazy like that. Brian Jones, obviously still an analyst now nationally for CBS. Robin Sinline, I texted with him last night, the father of Austin and Lyle Sinline that played for the Longhorns as well. He's going to come on the show a little bit later this week, we hope, or next week. Johnny Treadwell may have been the first one to wear the number, I think. Actually, and then Jeff Lighting, who I think was originally from Las Vegas, another guy that wore the number. But anyways, Tommy Nobis, hats off to you, buddy. Hope you're looking down on us and smiling. Your number is today 60 days away from University of Texas starting their 2026 football season.
There's a couple of really just doing research on him, cool things I came across, or I think they're cool. He's the only sophomore starter on the 63 national championship team. The only. The other crazy thing is he went to San Antonio Jefferson High.
Yep.
San Antonio Jeff has had 2 number 1 overall picks in the NFL draft.
Who's the other one?
Maybe the only high school in Texas that can say that. The other one was years ago. It was Kyle Rote, who went to SMU, graduated in 1950, was also the first overall pick in the NFL draft. So Jefferson's had 2 number 1 overalls in the NFL draft. I wonder how many high schools can claim that.
No, I mean Wilson or Woodrow Wilson has 2 Heismans in Dallas.
Right.
That is an interesting fact. Novus also, one of the things I learned, and I did not know this before this morning when I was researching it, he had a younger brother named Joe that had signed with the University of Texas and passed away tragically in Lake Travis by drowning. So look, I've been covering Texas football for 30 plus years. I'd never heard that story before, so or read about it. But anyways, long story short, 60 days away. Longhorns now in a situation, Jerry, where we're 2 months out from seeing what's going to happen in 2026. There's a lot of prognostications out. We're going to talk a little bit about Phil Steele and what he said in his preseason publication. I texted with Phil yesterday as well. He's going to come on the show either next week or the week after. We got a number of different people. One other thing that is mentioned and needs to be mentioned is that, nowadays the number 60 is retired at the University of Texas officially, but you do see guys wear it on a 1-game occasion. Derek Johnson famously did that. Dusty Renfro did it. You've seen some of the greats at Texas do that in an honor to Novus. Just one of those things. Tough. Have to see what's going on, but hats off to Tommy Novus and his family. His daughter is still on the foundation, helping run the foundation in Atlanta, by the way. So just tremendous work by them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, before we move on, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone this morning about our friends over at Texas Road.
I can do that with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road is your full-service solution for major road projects in and around Austin. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes. They're able to complete road building in a high-profile environment thanks to our friend Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road for their ongoing support of On Texas Football. Every Tuesday morning, they're our sponsor. Thanks again to Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road.
All right. And let's see here. Before we really get into it, let's take this question from Marco. Is Tommy Novus the best football player ever from San Antonio?
Oh, man.
Who are the other possibility? And Priest Holmes, I think, is up there in the NFL at least. I'm
going to trusty Wikipedia for this one.
Well, Warren McVay apparently in the 60s, he went to University of Houston. He was known as a great player. Tommy Kramer, when I was growing up, was from San Antonio. I'm doing this off memory. I'm not looking up Wikipedia, guys. Come on now. Y'all need some help.
That's a lot of history.
Brown, the running back from San Antonio, had a great career. Wayne McGarity was from San Antonio. Gerard Douglas at Converse Judson had a great high school career, as did a person named Chris Pryor, running back at Judson before that. Am I missing anybody?
Ty Detmer won a Heisman.
Oh, Ty Detmer. Definitely Ty Detmer. Southwest.
That's why I had to go to the
Cash brother. Hey, the Cash brothers, Johnny Walker, all out of Holmes High School. Somebody's going to tell me I'm missing somebody.
Let's see. I'm going down. I'm going down the list. I think you hit on most of the guys that would be mentioned. So the answer is, as a football player, probably yes.
Did Marco Mendez said Aaron Ross before moving to Tyler. I think he went to Fox Tech, didn't he?
I think he did. His dad was a coach there.
Yep. Frederick Griffin, definitely.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Yeah.
Michael Terry's on the current team. Mike Jones, tight end, played at Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you could argue, if you really looked at that, you could say San Antonio high school sports history. You're going to have Shaquille O'Neal, Tommy Nobis. I'm seeing if there's anybody in baseball that would be in that conversation. Probably not. Probably not. So those may be the
Cliff
two
Gustafson. Cliff Gustafson was a assistant or a head baseball coach in San Antonio in high school forever.
Yeah. That's it. That's interesting for the population. I would have expected a 2 or 3 more major names, but good. It's a good history day. Here we go.
All right. Well, you mentioned Phil Steele, so let's take a look at his preseason All SEC team, guys. And we're going to look at the first and second team. It is loaded on the first team. You have Arch Manning, Ryan Wingo, and Cam Coleman take 2 of the 3 first-team wide receiver slots. Trevor Gooseby at tackle. And then Colin Simmons at edge and Biles at linebacker. And then over on the second team, he has Hollywood Smothers as the second team running back, followed by Hero Canoe at defensive tackle, Jelani McDonald at safety, and Ryan Niblett at punt returner. So quite a few Longhorns on here.
Bobby, what's Blake and I counted before the show. That first team offense, Texas plays them all except Drew Bobo.
Do they really?
Play the entire first team on the schedule this year except Drew Bobo, the center for Georgia, obviously Mike Bobo's son. Every other player is on the schedule for Texas.
How do you like them going with Ryan Wingo over Cam Coleman? I'm putting that out there. I mean, that's a bold pick by or not over Cam Coleman. I'm sorry. I just now noticed that Cam Coleman was also on the first team. My apologies.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Ryan Wingo's set up statistically for a really big year on this team. I just do. We've talked about it. The other thing we've talked about is Texas plays all the running backs on this list. And Smothers is the second team running back. Now, that's an interesting pick over Raleek Brown, Bobby, when you talk to people inside the building, right?
Yeah, I don't think people inside the building necessarily would agree with that. But, they love both of them.
Yep. But I think it's really interesting. Look, another one. Here's one to me. Caden Green from Missouri. That I'm saying that because that still hurts Oklahoma fans because he transferred back to Missouri. Over Jordan Seaton.
Oh, at LSU. Jordan Seaton's not. I guess he's second team.
Yeah,
David
second
Sanders
team guy. The other thing is on defense, which sets up pretty good for the Texas offense. If you look at Phil Steele's list, look at all those defensive players that Texas doesn't play on the first team. For those that are a podcast, I mean, Dylan Stewart obviously is a stud. Him and Colin Simmons are the top 2 edges in college football. But Texas doesn't play Xavier Atkins, who if he'd gone in the portal, Texas would have wanted. Raylan Wilson at Georgia. Georgia has 3 first-team guys that don't play him. Alabama, 2 first-team secondary guys don't play him. Xavier Atkins at Auburn don't play him. So Texas doesn't play any of the first-team DBs as well, which is, Georgia and Alabama have really good secondaries.
I was going to say the entire first team secondary is either Georgia or Alabama.
Yep.
No room for Jelani McDonald. Do you agree with the guys that they picked for Texas? Do you agree with that list?
I think at the end of the day, as talented as Texas wide receivers are, it'll probably be tough to get 2 first-team guys at the end of the season.
Yeah, numbers-wise, right?
Because somebody's going to have a big year. Maybe it's not even on first or second team, right? I mean, who knows who it can be right now, but somebody's going to have a big year, and that's going to probably force the hand. Now, maybe both those guys go for 1,000 yards. It's a moot point. I don't know, but I don't disagree. I think at the end of the season it'll be tough to have 2 first-team wideouts. Probably. I mean, look, people say, "Well, Alabama did it." Yeah, that's true. But how many times has it been done? So that puts your odds against it. But no, I don't really have an issue. I think, Bobby, would you go Trinidad Chambliss as the first team quarterback to start the year?
To start the year, I probably would have.
Yeah.
But Phil Steele is more of a prognosticator than he is hey, this is where they are at the start of the year. So he's trying to predict who will be the first team at the end of the year. He's not saying going into this, Trinidad Chambliss, you have the stat,
Yeah.
He's trying to predict the postseason all SEC team, I think, which is a different some like Athlons and others try to say, oh, this is the preseason team. We'll pick a different one in the postseason. Phil still tries to make a prediction with his teams and with his placement of players. That's why, you'll see a Hollywood Smothers on there, frankly. But I want to say this just real briefly, if you don't mind, Jerry. I'm looking down at Oklahoma. Oklahoma has 4 players on defense, either first or second team.
Mm-hmm.
A&M does not have a single player on defense on either team.
One on offense and none on defense.
Yeah, they got a kick returner in Terry Bussey. So look, and only one on offense, Mario Craver. I'm reading that right?
Yep.
Correct. Oklahoma they have one on offense as well, and that's a second team wide receiver.
Oklahoma.
Here's what we've been saying that I think this kind of exercise bears out, Jerry. We've been talking about how Texas doesn't have a true weakness necessarily in this team. If they do, where is it?
Secondary.
And we're going to go over that next probably. But my point is this vision of what Phil Steele has is indicative of what we've been talking about all along. Texas extraordinarily well-rounded as a team. For example, Georgia looks defensive heavy, right? Texas may look a little offensive heavy, but not out of the norm. They have 4 guys total on defense as well. So, look, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
Oklahoma
10 players for Texas overall.
Yeah.
Oklahoma really strong on special teams. Look at the kicker, the punter.
That's what I was going to say. They have
long snapper.
They dominate special teams.
Yes.
So if they're in a bunch of close games, remember that. If that actually pans out to be true.
How far up is Tate Sandel going to have his pants this year? Is it going to be up to upper thigh for him?
Probably.
Yeah,
probably. He should just wear soccer shorts. How many? See, the other thing is on the first team. How many of these guys are from the state of Texas? Because that was a big talk when the SEC brought in A&M, is how it opened up the state of Texas to the SEC. Well, now we're here with Texas and Texas A&M. So you have, look, it may not be as many as you think on a first team. Obviously, it's just
5.
It's Kawan Lacey. It's Trevor Gooseby. That played high school football.
Yeah, it's 5 total from the state of Texas on the first team.
On the first team, and your second team is Satanga moved to Arkansas. It's not as many as you would think. Prince Will obviously is. Peyton Bowen obviously is. Jelani McDonald, Ryan Niblett is a return man. Terry Bussey is a return man. So it's not like it's never going to be dominated, but Texas is going to be well represented in every one of these every year. But Texas is never going to dominate this type of team, the state of Texas. There's too much talent in the Southeast. But boy, does it just give you an unbelievable – it'll be interesting to go back and look at that with the NFL draft.
Yeah. Look, the overall thought process, Texas has guys on both sides of the ball this year. They just do. You can say what you want, but, they have 5 guys on offense, 4 on defense. I'm a big fan of what Texas has done through the portal and in recruiting. And I think if you just fire on both cylinders, that's what makes Texas different. I mean, like A&M, I thought did well in the portal and kind of that 1 year. Their only guy on that list is Mario Craver. He's a transfer. Right now, Terry Bussey was a second team return guy, but I'm talking about a position player.
Say anybody in the chat that has last year's magazine, see how many A&M had on the first and second team last year.
Yeah,
I think some of this is hard with the portal, and I mean, like, does LSU actually have enough representation for the talent they have on that? Because LSU's a talented team. I don't know what it's going to look like on the field, but they have some talent on that roster. And who knows what it's going to look like on the field with them? I mean, they're going to be good, obviously, but you don't know. It's just so much they had to overturn or chose to overturn.
Let's see here. While we're talking about that, let's look at his unit rankings as well. This is how Texas stacks up nationally and in the SEC. Quarterback, guys, number 2 nationally, number 1 in the SEC. Running back, number 2 nationally, number 2 in the SEC. They're behind Missouri on those. Wide receiver 4, 1 in the SEC. O-line 18 and 4 in the SEC. Defensive line 4 and then number 1 in the SEC. Linebacker number 1 in the SEC, but 3 nationally. Defensive back number 19 nationally, 7 in the SEC. And then special teams, guys, he's very, very high on Texas special teams. Has them number 1 overall.
How is that possible?
How's that possible?
We just sat there in his preseason prediction for the SEC had basically Oklahoma winning out. I guess the return game for Texas should be better than OU's. It was a big difference in the Cotton Bowl this year. I mean, right? With Niblett. But look, I mean, to Jerry's point earlier, DB kind of sticks out there a little bit like a sore thumb, but it's not that much different nationally than offensive line. I mean, he ranks Texas 18th nationally in offensive line, but has them only number 4 in the SEC. DBs, maybe that speaks to the strength of the secondaries in the SEC overall. The fact that the number 7 ranked SEC unit is number 19 overall, that sounds like the national rankings typically, where the SEC gets 8 teams in the top 20, preseason.
Yeah, it kind of goes, we did a show on this, I believe, and I went with DB, or we did a question of the week on TexasFootball.com, and I went with DB as the biggest question on the team. Actually, I think it's special teams, kicking, punting, being a little unknown on this team is probably number 1, and then it goes to DB for me, and then it goes to OL third. But as far as defensive back, I think it's not, and I'm not sure it has to do with the rankings, but I think there's a bit of an unknown here. Some guys that need to come through for Texas at DB more than any other position possibly. I mean, that were already on campus that need to come through for Will Muschamp, Blake Gideon, Mark Orfe. That if Kobe Black is, as we broke that news, Kobe Black was working a lot at safety this summer. If that position holds, then somebody's got to come on at that second team corner or the corner opposite Bo Masco. Obviously, you think it's Cade Phillips, but there's competition. Cade Phillips is not in the spring as the number 1 guy. Got a ton of talent. That position's got to come through for Texas. And the reason I've had DB up there, Bobby, is because the offensive talent you're playing, the quarterbacks you're playing, the skill level guys you're playing, I think makes that number your biggest question. Because when you're playing that many good quarterbacks or that many talented quarterbacks or capable or experienced quarterbacks, however you want to define these guys, then you can have really good coverage and still lose. And you better have really good coverage against the players you're playing at that position. And the pass rush becomes that much more important to help protect your secondary. And I think the safety spot other than Jelani McDonald, because is there that true rangy safety out there to come through for Will Muschamp and his defense? Because when you look at the history of that defense, they've had some hellacious, rangy, free type of safeties that have played under Malachi Starks being the latest at Georgia that him and Kirby recruited. Obviously, Earl Thomas. You can go all the way back to LaRon Landry at LSU. I mean, that position is really, really important for Will Muschamp in their scheme. So I think that's kind of those two positions going to have to come through. I think you're solid at 3. You have 2 that have to come through for you, because you don't want to have a weak spot against the offensive talent you're playing, Bobby, on this schedule.
No, you don't want to have a weak spot. You know, I am not like, can I sit here and say to you guys that I agree with, I think Phil Steele is, the one thing about Phil, he calls it like he sees it every year. There's no, I don't sense a bias from him in all the years I've dealt with him. For him to come out and say Texas has 5 different positions that he thinks are number 1 in the country, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
In the SEC.
Yeah, or excuse me, in the SEC. I think that's near unheard of. I feel like maybe Georgia's done that. Maybe Alabama back in the day. That's just really, really strong. And I hear what you're saying about worrying about the secondary and the safety play. Jerry, I think that my counterpoint to this, and one of the things that I hope Texas is able to do this year with this offense being so good or being so talented, is how many times has Texas in the last 5 years under Sark really got out on top of teams early? I thought they did that in their first year in Austin, but ever since then, it hasn't been a lot of fast starts for Texas. One game last year was a fast start, Vanderbilt, correct? That was a fast start. Can they start fast and then give the defense, the defense starts playing one-sided football a little bit, having to worry about the pass more than the run? If the Texas offense can do that, I think that mitigates part of your defensive issues that you're talking about. I really do. And it lets Colin Simmons kind of pin his ears back. Rasheem Biles pin his ears back. Brad Spence. So as I look at this season, I'm thinking about quick starts on offense and how that can impact and play into the hands of the Texas defense. That doesn't make – it gives the secondary more of a fighting chance because it allows the pass rush to kind of –
I think the big question there is the fast starts were against Big 12 teams. Are you going to do that against
them?
No,
I agree. So
that's the big thing. Can you? Can you, right? It'll be interesting to see. By the way, I agree with Ryan Nelson here for sure. He's talking about linebackers. Georgia is a better linebacker room than Texas. I would say this is flatly wrong, honestly. Look, I've been flatly wrong about things too. That's what we're talking about here. But I agree with Ryan Nelson. Georgia's linebacker room is better than Texas. There's no question in my mind about that. And I love Rasheem Biles. But we're talking, I'm sure Georgia was too, right? Hey, by the way, Blake, somebody asked in the chat, what are Ohio State's ranking in the Big Ten? If we have time to look that up.
Yeah, I tell you what, while I look that up, why don't y'all do an ad read? And I'll let you start, Jerry, by telling everyone about Zen AI.
This summer, don't just watch the game, vibecast it. Zen AI is a home of vibecasting, a new way to capture and share real sports conversations. No studio, no fancy gear. Your phone is the whole setup. Arguing about who should have taken the last shot, breaking down every play. Hit record, take it out, and Zen AI turns that combo into a sportscast. You can share as clips, reels, and even TikToks. An AI producer works behind the scenes, cleaning up the audio, cutting highlights, and helping you tweak your edits just by chatting in plain English. Go live while the game is on or record your hot takes after your hottest takes. Bring your own co-host or find another fan in Zen AI's network. This summer, Zen AI is paying new Vibecasters to launch their first sportscast. Humans are the talent. AI is the infrastructure. Zen AI is invite only. Head to zen.ai to join the waitlist. That's zen.ai or tap the link in our show notes. And best of luck to you.
And Bobby, I'll let you tell everyone about Mint Mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. There are things in life that you don't want to be transparent, like your swimsuit or your search history, right? Especially if you're Jerry Hamilton. But when it comes to your wireless bill, transparency is everything. That's why Mint Mobile's wireless plans have no gimmicks and no gotchas, just high-speed data and reliable coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. And right now, all plans are $15 per month, even the unlimited plan. Mint Mobile took what's wrong with wireless and made it right with premium wireless for $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your current phone and your number with you and activate within minutes. Choose from 3, 6, or 12-month plans and say goodbye to a monthly bill. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/OnTexas. That's mintmobile.com/OnTexas. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/OnTexas. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan is required. That's a $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees are extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabytes of the hotspot. Capable devices required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com/OnTexas for more details.
Hey, Blake, before you get to that answer, I got to just remind folks that Joey McGuire speaks at 11:20. So if you're anywhere in Texas and you hear this noise, beep, 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 you'll know Joey's about to take the mic in Dallas. Because he is going to be back tracking this morning. My prediction.
I don't think he's going to do that.
He might not. I'm having fun with him.
Yeah, I think he's going to. He seems to be the guy that likes to double down.
Well, he's going to have an earpiece in saying what somebody tells him to at this point.
Direct Cody Campbell's leer jet.
I think that he didn't kill anybody statement. They took him off the mic after that. If you look at it chronologically.
He's going to, from the Gulf Stream, they're going to have it piped in.
I think when they did that roundtable BS meeting, I think Texas Tech higher-ups had hands on him on both of his legs to let him know when he could speak.
You know how many times you could tell, like, look, we do video for a living at some level, Jerry and Blake. And so you can tell when things have been spliced together, right? Yeah. I mean, you can obviously tell. How many times did it look like in that Texas Tech video? How many times did things look like they were spliced together? In a was it a 20-minute video?
22 minutes.
How many times do y'all think? Because I went back and counted. That's me. How many times do you think things were spliced together in a 22-minute video?
Yep.
I'm asking you a question. How many times?
5 or 6, probably.
I was going to say about 14.
Yeah. Try again.
Yeah.
27.
Really? Cool.
Looked like 27 times things were particularly around their president, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was trying to mince words where there were no words to mince. Yeah. Filmed 2 hours to get a 22-minute cut.
That's a good point, Pat Page.
That's probably what they did.
All right, we're going to get to y'all super chats in a moment. But as far as Ohio State goes, number 1 quarterback, this is Big Ten rankings.
Yeah.
Number 1 quarterback, number 3 running back, number 1 receiver, number 1 offensive line, number 1 defensive line, number 4 linebacker, number 4 DB, number 3 special teams.
They're good.
Yeah. They can't be as good on defense, even though Patricia's a great coach. They lost too many great players. That you don't replace great players. You have really good players. They won't be quite as good on defense, but I think they may be even better on offense. Yep. Must-win game for both teams, in my opinion. A high-stakes football game. S12, high stakes.
Super chats. There's quite a few of them. So let's jump into some of those. And going back to that list earlier from Phil, Brian says, what players not on the list do you think may end up on the list at the end of the season?
Bo Masco.
I think so.
Good one.
That's a great one, Jerry.
Second team corner, probably.
Ooh, I think he's got a chance to be higher. I mean, I'm just based on feedback I'm getting. They love when I would be unsurprised if Bo Masco made first or second team all SEC. I think it was the first one out of your mouth, and I completely agreed.
Bring the list up again. I want to see who.
Yeah.
But on Texas,
here you go. Thank you.
I mean, I could see Raleek Brown being a second team guy
rather than Hollywood some others, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my comment.
Yeah. But I think those first three, if they stay healthy, somebody asked about Ahmad Hardy's health. I don't have the answer. But even if he just plays SEC games, that's what would matter here.
Tight end, it looks. I'm just going to say this. I don't know how good Willie Rodriguez is at tight end for Kentucky, or if that's just a gimme pick for Kentucky. I just don't know, but you would think Nick Townsend might get some run there.
I'm going to tell y'all something interesting. So he actually did 4 teams. You're only seeing first and second team on here. There wasn't a single Texas player, and I'm double checking, but I checked it twice yesterday, so I guess I'm triple checking. Not a single Texas player on the third or fourth team at any position.
Wow.
Is that where the Aggies checked in?
Yeah, they had one on the third team on offense, and Marcel Reed was the fourth team quarterback. Dalton Brooks was the fourth team safety. And then they had a long snapper that was fourth team as well. But they still don't have a lot on there for, as high as they've been ranked in a lot of public.
Masco definitely for me, guys, is in that category. I'm somewhat surprised that maybe Brandon Baker, Lance Jackson would be one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Lance would be the kind of the second year boom guy to make a. Yeah, look at your edges though. I mean, you're talking about top 10 picks as your starters as your first team, and Prince Will's getting some late first round mocks, second round mocks. It's going to be hard if those guys have healthy years to unseat any of them. So you got maybe one spot.
What to your point though, Jerry? I mean, look. The first team all SEC, 10 of them will probably 10 SEC guys are going to go in the first round, probably.
Yeah.
Then NFL draft. That's the way numbers are. So you're looking at rarefied air if you get into break that in.
Yeah, you want to know how talent. Want to know when you have a talented conference.
Hey, Marad Watson.
He has the statistical ability, if he stays healthy, to have a big year. Like I think he has statistical ability that kind of pop. Like Ian Jaffard could be worthy of this, but he's not going to have the number. So they'd have to bet on, like that could be a coach's pick type of thing with the Jaffard if he just owned the interior. If he owned the 0 and A gaps essentially for a 9-game SEC season.
Alex January.
Yeah.
I would go. Out of all of this, I would still go Bo Masco.
Yeah, I think so too. By the way, when you have a really talented conference, and obviously it should be, Jordan Seaton's probably going to, he could be a top 20 pick. He's second team.
Dude, he could be a top 5 pick.
He really could. If he plays to how he looks this year, watch out. Jeez. But I mean, you got guys, and Prince Will's getting some first round mocks. Chris Cole. These guys are all top 4-round draft picks, more than likely. They're on second team. That's wild.
Welcome to the SEC, baby. I just think that's the issue. This isn't the Big 12 where you're looking at the first team and you may have four guys go in the first 3 rounds. I mean, the NFL is littered with SEC picks in the first, second, third round.
Yep. We have a good where was that? Like we had a good super chat I wanted to follow up on this conversation with. Terrence Jones. Since we're on this combo. Pop it up, Blake.
There you go.
Blake, Bobby, and Jerry, name a true freshman that can start on offense and defense, if not more. I think not early in the season. I don't think that's this team. I think if there's a wide receiver injury at midway point after Jermaine Bishop gets his feet wet, I think he'd be hard. I think the more he plays, the harder it's going to be to keep him off the field. He's just going to bring something nobody else has in a very talented wide receiver room, or not anybody else has. The guys who are maybe ahead of him on the depth chart right now. The only other guy, Bobby, I can think of really would be Richard Wesley if there's an injury, and that's not an injury you want to talk about.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's not an injury we want to even get into a hypothetical on, because that'd be bad.
I would go Derek Cooper because there are injuries routinely.
People are going to get bumped.
Position. I do think Jermaine Bishop is in that category. On defense, I think you got to go with Wesley, to your point, but he's going to have to overcome somebody like Lance Jackson. I mean, good luck.
It gets into injuries we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, the one that you might circle on defense, and again, it would be most likely because of injury, would be Smoke Matthews at corner, because I think that Texas is not deep at corner, and or proven. And if he can, they get into a situation where they're playing a lot of zone. He's got that long reach, Jerry, and he had some propensity to cause turnovers in spring ball. They might look at him. Hey, there's one
sleeper.
No. Time out, Jerry. This is a great one that we did not mention that wasn't on the first 4 teams, apparently. We haven't. Grayson Littleton was not on that list by Phil Steele.
Yeah.
Pretty good player if you start as a true freshman at Texas.
Yeah, game 1. True freshman, Bukowskis at punter if Chimuto doesn't come through.
Okay. You're such a turkey. He said offensive defense. He said defense. What is that?
You punt in the stands at LSU and you can lose a game. It matters.
Special teams was not on the answer sheet, Jerry.
Isn't punter kind of defense?
Michael
in your field position.
Michael Dixon says it was offense. So,
so the chat keeps mentioning Tyler Atkinson multiple
Not
times.
this year. Not for me. I would almost venture to say Kosciuszko Paul is ahead right now.
At a different position.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's further along, to Jerry's point. I'm not so sure Rocky Cummings isn't as well. Just from everything. Now, doesn't mean we're low on Tyler Atkinson all of a sudden. Don't read into this the wrong way. Cummings just came in and was in the thick of everything. Okpala, to Jerry's point, apparently showed that he had some real pass rush ability, like on the outside.
Yeah.
Which is Atkinson is more of a shoot the gap guy with suddenness.
Yeah, and the thing with the Tyler Atkinson is, and it doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. I'm not saying that at all. The things he could do in high school to get around blockers, you have to go through blockers at the college level. So he's kind of going to change his game. And this spring was the start of changing his game a little bit. And now we'll see how quickly he can take that to a field. Like just swimming offensive linemen one after the other doesn't work in the SEC. That worked in high school football. That's not going to work in the SEC. So he's going to have to learn that's part of development. He's going to have to change his game a little bit for what's going to be required of him. Very talented. It's just going to come down to how long does it take him to take that to the field and execute it at a high level.
All right. Well, we're going to get to some more questions and super chats here in just a moment. But first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about SeatGeek this morning.
I can do it. Thank you very much, Blake. Guys, Major League Baseball's in full swing. There's even a World Cup going on, despite what happened with the U.S. last night against Belgium. What was that goalie thinking at one play? I don't know. Look, a lot of things that you can do. use a lot of apps out there that you can use to get to a game these days, but there's none better than SeatGeek. More than 35 million downloads. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek every day, including concerts, sports, festivals, and much more. College football is just around the corners. NFL schedule is out. World Cup is almost over. Right now, you got to love what SeatGeek has available for you. They have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. That's one of the things I love about their app. So you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots within the app. Green means good. Red means bad. Look for the green deals. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And, of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use our code OTF10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code OTF10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to our friends over at SeatGeek. Again, that is code OTF10 for 10% off tickets on SeatGeek.
And I'm going to tell everyone this morning about our friends over at Prize Picks. There's a lot of ways to watch sports. You can sit back, you can check the score, maybe flip between games, or you can have something riding on every swing, every shot, every touch, every possession. And that is where Prize Picks comes in. The summer sports calendar is loaded right now. Baseball's rolling. WNBA has been a blast, and the World Cup has everybody watching. And Prize Picks gives you a simple way to make all of it more interesting. You're just looking at player projections and deciding one thing, more or less. That's it. You build your lineup, you submit your picks, and then you're locked in from the first whistle to the final out. And I'm going to put our picks up because we have been on a hot streak here lately. So we're going to look to continue that. Going across 3 sports today, we're taking Breonna Stewart to have more than 14.5 points, Messi to have more than half a goal, and Jacob deGrom to have more than 6.5 strikeouts. And that's what makes Prize Picks fun. You trust your read, you make the call, and suddenly every little moment matters. Don't forget, Prize Picks is available in all 50 states. So download the app. Use code HMA when you sign up and then play $5 in lineups. After that, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Again, that's code HMA. Remember, $5 gets you 50. And as always, play smart, play responsibly, play Prize Picks. All right, let's see here. We got more super chats. And let's go to recruiting for a moment. Chop Talk 22 says, if signed, where would Landon Williams-Callis rank amongst prior Texas running back signees of the last 10 years?
There's a couple of ways to do that. We talked about yesterday how some backs aren't as productive. They don't get as many carries, so they're not going to be as productive stats-wise as some others. Statistically, he's going to be number 1 if he comes to Texas. He will have had the best high school career as a running back of anybody that signed with Texas in the last decade. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Does that mean you're better than Bijan Robinson? No. I'm not saying that's the case, but there's different ways you can look at it. Derek Cooper was not a very productive high school. They didn't run the ball a ton. And he played defense too. So, I mean, there's different ways you can look at it. And I'm knock on wood for Landon. I don't care where he goes. He has been an incredibly healthy player in high school. I don't want to jinx him by talking about this. So you hear me knocking on wood. The kid has not missed a game. He hasn't missed time. I mean, he has been incredibly healthy. Like when Jonathan Gray, and I'm not comparing him as players, but when Jonathan Gray was putting up the numbers he left high school with 2 shoulder surgeries. I'd never heard of that from a high school running back before. Landon's been incredibly healthy. So he's had health on his side as well. So, which is hard to do when you touch the ball almost 1,000 or 900 times, maybe 1,000 counting returns in 3 years of high school football.
So you're going back to 2017, right?
Yeah.
Where would Landon Williams-Callis rank? Bijan Robinson was the number 1 running back in his class, unquestioned. correct? I believe I'm correct in that. He was ranked number 1. He's a 5-star, etc.
Yeah.
There was some debate whether or not Cedric Baxter was that guy or whether or not Derek Cooper was that guy. I would say, if you're asking me to truly rank them like 1 to 5, I would probably even. And this, I will say this is predicated on what Bijan has become more than what he was coming out, because you couldn't really, I mean, Bijan averaged more than 10 yards a game, but he was running against
inferior.
He was running against guys from Tucson, Arizona that just, not your bastion of college, of high school football, right? So I think he's, to Jerry's point, I think LWC is certainly the most productive over a career, but statistically, I think that's the one he comes closest to, more so than Cooper or Baxter or anybody else.
Somebody brought up Jonathan Brooks, great high school career.
Yeah, great, but he was some people didn't even think Jonathan Brooks was a running back in high school. They thought he might be a DB.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was a great evaluation by Stan Drayton, I thought.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Brooks, by the way, tremendous contact balance. That he is a guy that I think that is one of the things that Landon Williams-Callis has. Tremendous contact balance. And so I think that goes unmatched. Derek Cooper and Cedric Baxter, I think, would be 3 and 4 in that category for me. But 1 would be Bijan in retrospect now. 2 would be Landon Williams-Callis. Could debate whether or not it was 1, 2 in that. And then 3 and 4 would be Cooper, then Baxter for me. That's how I would see it in the last 10 years.
There you go. Good stuff. All right, our next super chat this morning. We're going to stay on some recruiting. Texas Blake 1. Thank you for your super chat. When y'all were ranking high school players, this is a good question. How did you decide between 5-star and 4-star, top 50 versus top 100, etc.?
Yeah, look, there's so many things that go into that. One of the big reasons, and I know Bobby was this way, even though it was a different information day and age. But the reason I love going to high schools is so you could find out as much outside of a tape as possible.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't really factor in, look, the reality is if you're trying to rank 2,500 high school players, nobody that ranks them is going to know enough about guys' backgrounds. That's why it's always going to be an inexact science. The closest I came to that was the ESPN Under Armour days, because at the Under Armour game, I was part of that process, and you were around all those guys for a week, and you really got to have conversations. You got to go talk to Under Armour coaches, just little things. Hey, this guy was late to 3 meetings out of 6. Well, there's a red flag, and it's amazing how many of those things you found out actually those red flags carried over. But Bobby, that's always a difficult part, is you're not going to, in a national ranking, you're not going to know enough about the player and his habits and kind of who he is. You're going to rank him off talent, the combine numbers, equation, and Under Armour camps and Nike camps. You're not going to know enough about the kids.
Yeah, but how did I agree with that. So rankings are imperfect.
Right.
Even today, when you have much more access. How did I do it? When I was going around seeing the Adrian Petersons or Vince Youngs or I don't know, TJ Duckett is one that I remember vividly, or Ernie Sims or Kevin Falk way back, Anquan Bolden. I really went by feel if I saw them in person.
Yep.
I'll give you an example. So Vince Young was easy. See him in
Those
person.
guys are easy. Yeah.
I mean, Adrian Peterson, you just look at him and go, okay.
Easy.
There's those hands down 5 stars that you would be dumb not to rank 5 stars. I mean, there just are. Peterson is one of those. Where the interesting part gets, or the nebulous part, is say 6, because there's about 5 of those a year, by the way, in my opinion. 5 guys, 6 guys that are just, you go watch them play and you're like, uncle. Other people aren't built like this guy. There's not a ton. People think there's like Corey Redding is one. That was the easiest, you just walk up, watch him play 4 downs, and you walk away.
Middle linebacker as a sophomore.
Yeah. I mean, guys like that, it just doesn't take long.
Leonard Davis, even though he played Wortham.
But Leonard Davis, yes, absolutely. But my point being, for folks, is that after about 10 guys, 32 were actually ranked 5 stars or so, and that was to approximate the NFL draft. So what you do from number 11 to 32 is where the science, or where the art becomes realistic. So I always focused, after you go and see Jerry would say to Jadeveon Clowney. That's just like a checkbox, right? You're like, okay, next guy. The art was really between 10 and 32 for me. Or 6 or 7, whatever the year was that year, and how many freaky players I saw. I think that from my vantage point, it was actually seeing them in person. I'll never forget, there was I'll give you a really rare example of a guy that I ranked a 5-star that nobody else did. And I went to Tulsa one year, up to Tulsa, to see R.W. McQuarters. People won't even remember this guy, most likely. But he signed with Oklahoma State. But he was being recruited by Notre Dame and Oklahoma and Texas and Alabama, everybody, right? But I go up there and watch him. He played every down.
Yeah.
He played every down. He was the best player on the field, including Damon Parker, who played running back for OU, and Ryan Humphrey, who signed a basketball scholarship with Notre Dame. He was the best player on the field on every down. He punted. He kicked. He covered kicks. And he was at Booker T. Washington in Tulsa. And I was like, and he was 6 foot, 175, dripping wet. And people wonder like where you find guys like Jermaine Bishop and people like that aren't very big, but you still just go, the dude's got it. Well, R.W. McQuarters, I made him a 5-star, and people were like, he's going to Oklahoma State. Why would you? Because I thought the kid was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The football instincts, the football intelligence, the stamina played through. I mean, in that game, it looked like he dislocated his elbow, but kept playing, and he was playing wildcat quarterback and wide receiver and running. I mean, just ends up being a 1st-round draft pick, I think, of the San Francisco 49ers. And so the art comes in seeing those guys in person, to Jerry's point.
100%.
And so if you're at I'll never forget, and I'll never forget this. Another one I saw in person at an All-American game was Cam Newton. We saw Cam Newton at an All-American game, and he was like the 150th player in the country. You watch him play, we made him like the 25th player in the country, and we're still wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, after 1 week, people are like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Some guys, it just ain't hard, guys. But when you see them in person, it gives you a sense of how they even carry themselves sometimes, man. That's part of it too. You get a sense of confidence in them, right? Oh, yeah. And I will say this: I've gone to places and seen the opposite.
Yes,
there was I should not mention this player's name, and I won't. But there was a linebacker out of Chicago I went to see once. He was a 5-star going to Notre Dame. Everybody loved him. Ran like a 47 or 48 400 meter. 6'4", 220 pounds. Major. I went and watched him play football, and I was like, this dude's not a football player. He never started for Notre Dame.
No.
Okay, and I didn't rank him a 5-star. I took him out of that. And so, but when you see those guys in person and you feel the weight of them, that's the art. And so that's what I tried to do. When you went to see a Kevin Falk, for example, that ended up going to LSU, and he's not your 5-star guy in some ways, but that guy did everything for his team and died trying. Like he was, I can't tell you how impressive he was compared to some other guys you'd go see on that same trip, and you're like, And even then, you still miss on guys.
Oh yeah, still. Yeah, I mean, look, to Bobby's point, a big one is quarterback for me. Like Texas signed a quarterback, like Bobby was talking about. I want to see him in high school, and my first impression was no chance that guy will take the ball in front of 100,000 people and deal with that pressure of being the quarterback at the University of Texas and handle that well and be good in that arena. That's why somebody brings up a good one here. Michael Golden. This is where rankings are always interesting. Johnny Football. I was over rankings at 24/7. Bobby was there, but he was not doing any rankings at that point. And I had Manziel. I think it was the only person that had Manziel a 4-star because his tape was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Everybody else had him as a 3-star player. And then it's funny sometimes you go against what you see sometimes. I made a couple of calls and they were like, I wouldn't bet on that guy. He's late. He shows signs he doesn't care. So all the reasons you heard were correct, but it didn't catch up with him until the NFL. Because in college, he's such a great player, he could get around. People close to that saying, I wouldn't bet on that one. We have trouble getting him to places on time and be invested in what we're doing. And so I was like, okay, I'll drop him to a non-24/7, top 247 4-star, like the last 4-star guy because he was just so talented. But his tape was better than even where I had him ranked. But there were so many questions around him that you're like, man, you just can't push that button. But he ends up winning a Heisman.
At one point, Chip Kelly at Oregon had both Johnny Manziel and Marcus Mariota committed.
Yep.
In the same class.
Yep.
You think Chip Kelly knows what to look for in that kind of quarterback?
No.
You know what I mean? That's pretty good. Pretty good recruiting by old Chip.
He was talented. Johnny Manziel was so talented. High school offensive-minded coaches that played against him, a couple of those guys reached out and said, you need to watch this guy before he was really on the radar. That's how talented he was.
A lot of people discounted him because he played, Kerrville.
Yeah.
And they didn't exactly have the toughest schedule.
Yeah.
And they that he can't get away with that in big boy football. The kind of herky, stop on a dime and turn around. He won't be able to he couldn't do that in Houston or Dallas. Yeah, he could.
He's the rare athlete that had eyes in the back of his head on a field and didn't use the eyes in his head.
True.
I mean, he had great vision until he needed to. By the way, somebody commented on my work hat, man. This is a
yeah, it is. It's
you got to break these out every now and then.
Jerry brings his overalls to work.
This one's been to a few states too. I'll say that. This one's well traveled. Hey, Bobby, somebody asked about Jamarcus Russell.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on Russell out of high school?
Phenomenal arm. Always.
Like Ryan Mallett arm.
Yeah, phenomenal. That was another guy those are maybe the two best arms I've ever seen in high school football.
Yeah.
The problem with Jamarcus at that point was he was not as big an arm as he had. He played in a program that wasn't exactly conducive of it. So all you saw was raw talent. And frankly, I didn't think he had at that point what I would call the it factor of a quarterback. Now, he ended up being number 1 overall. I'll say this. I don't think that I saw the it factor of Fernando Mendoza coming out of high school either if I would have watched him, right? So it's different that Russell had all these. He just had all the talent in the world.
Yeah. That was Ryan Mallett too. Ryan Mallett, his arm talent was never seen anything like it to this day. That's one of those guys you're like, I may not see anything that arm talent ever again.
Well, let's stay on quarterbacks for a second. We got a super chat here from Spank Boogie. He says, what do y'all think Sark prefers first in his quarterbacks? Arm strength or accuracy? I love Arch, but I think Lacey is going to have that train smoking. What are y'all's thoughts?
I think it's about, I don't think it's arm strength or accuracy. I think it's accuracy with a requisite amount of arm strength.
Yeah.
So
agree.
Once you get to a certain level of arm strength, you've got it.
When Sark says he can make all the throws, it's all the throws in his scheme. He doesn't care if he can throw it 70 yards down the field.
Right. That I agree with Jerry. So it's not, it's accuracy, but there has to be a requisite level of arm strength. That's your answer. KJ Lacey continues to impress. I think you're right. I do think that Dia Bell came on the second part of spring ball, though, guys. I mean, that is, if both of those guys stay through this offseason, that is going to be a whale of a quarterback battle.
No.
Maybe one that we haven't seen in some time, because both of those guys are talented and driven. That is going to be a very tough battle, because I think KJ Lacey will move your team no matter who the QB coach is or who's the play caller. KJ Lacey is just one of those quarterbacks that's going to move your team. Is he going to make the explosive plays that a Dia Bell will? Sark's going to have big boy question coming up, I think.
Nah.
All right, Bobby, why don't you tell us about Texas Road one last time?
Yep, I can do it. Thanks to our friend Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road. They are your full-service solution for major road projects in and around Austin, and with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes. They're able to complete road building in a high-profile environment. Also, guys, I want you to check out the Lone Star Bar out in Jonestown if you're out by the lake and looking for some cold brew. They keep their beer at 27 degrees out at the Lone Star Bar, coming out of the cold tank there. Again, Rick Vavro, the guys at Texas Road. Also check out the Lone Star Bar out in Jonestown.
Good stuff.
Hey, it's 27 degrees coming off a boat on the lake. That sounds pretty good to me, by the way.
Not too shabby. Big Poke here. Thank you for your super chat. What's Texas' best strategy to beat Ohio State?
Run the ball effectively.
Early, too.
Yeah, early. And I think get on top of Ohio State a little bit. If you can. If you make them one-dimensional and can kind of hone in on Julian Sayin early, I think you have such a better shot at narrowing their offense.
Yeah.
So I will go with that.
Yeah. That has been my number one thing is
whoa.
Huh.
Get the crowd engaged. I don't think we're gonna have a problem getting the crowd engaged.
Better not.
Yeah, but it literally could be a factor.
Oh yeah. Look, I think taking away, slowing Ohio State, making Ohio State feel like you're taking away their run is actually the most important thing in that game.
Make them one-dimensional.
Yeah. So you can get after Sayin a little bit and get him off balance, out of rhythm as much as possible. That dude's very accurate if he can sit in the pocket and make throws. And people say, well, all quarterbacks know. This guy's like Colt McCoy accurate if he can step in the throws and he's in rhythm. That to me is number one, because what would Ohio? Here's the other question: what would Ohio State's game plan coming in be? Because you want to take away their game plan. They know the game won't be like last year, right? They know that's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same type of game to where they could be ultra conservative because Arch was really off and Texas was just when he made it though, they dropped it. Then he missed guys open. It was just ugly offense, right? They know the game's not going to be like that in Austin. It's not going to replicate the game in Columbus. So what's their game plan? I think their game plan is we got to run the football, because Indiana showed Texas what to do against Julian Sayin and how to get after Julian Sayin. So you got to run the football effectively if you're Ohio State in that game, for sure.
And the reason you need to run the ball effectively is you need to keep Ohio State offense off the field.
Lower the possession by 1.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be their goal. I don't think there's any doubt. That doesn't mean it's going ultra conservative and Jeremiah Smith will have 2 targets in the first quarter. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But establishing a run game so Will Muschamp doesn't make you one-dimensional. I mean, that's like the battle line drawn in football all the time, is can you make somebody one-dimensional? And can the team you're playing remain 2-dimensional and make your job tougher as a DC? I mean, that's really, 30,000-foot view. That's what everybody's after to start a game.
Sandman's on fire right now. 3rd down conversions. Both sides.
Needs to be 3rd and shorts. There's many 3rd and shorts.
Well, my point is, though, both sides.
Yeah.
It's not – you got to be good when you need to be good in a game like that. And that's typically on 3rd downs. Getting off the field or staying on it.
Ooh, there's somebody.
Drew Lockhart says, is Cozy's ceiling as high as about anyone? What was the kid's name that chose Georgia and got in some trouble immediately? I think plays the same position as Okpala. Texas was recruiting both.
Chase Calicut is the name, but he was a safety that was going to be predicted to play linebacker. He did get in some very big trouble. I think he ended up at
Georgia State or Southern.
Georgia State or Kennesaw State, maybe, or one of those two in Atlanta area, right?
Yeah.
But he was from North Shore. Different players entirely, I thought. Okpala was more in the box guy. Calicut played safety for North Shore. I do believe that how big is Cozy Okpala's ceiling, Jerry? I mean, you know that, given the position he plays.
I've heard
linebackers don't have to be God's gift to athleticism. I mean, look at Zach Thomas, great player. You wouldn't say he's the greatest athlete of all time.
I mean, I've heard some pretty high praise behind the scenes, and we'll leave it there until he plays. But I think the thought is, when Muschamp, Gideon, they came back to Texas, I think the thought was around the Texas staff at that point, Cozy Okpala can be a really good pass rusher. And he played exclusively edge his senior year. Like when I went to see him, he was playing edge the whole time in his senior year. But I think when they gave him a chance off the ball, he picked things up really quickly. It doesn't mean he's going to be super high-level off-ball linebacker where he plays a lot of snaps there. But what he showed the staff is that he could pick things up fast, and so he can play it. But his best is going to be rushing the passer. So he's a guy that, which is pretty high praise for how long he's been at Texas. Oh, this guy can play off the ball. He can even wear a green dot. But he's going to be best rushing the passer at a very high level. And there's been a couple of names thrown out as comparisons, but I'm going to save those. It's not fair to the kid right now. But behind the scenes, it's a pretty big name.
Cozy Okpala has muscles that have muscles, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever see a photo of him.
All right, our final super chat of the day here is going to come from Justin Yarbrough. Appreciate you as always. Says, with 5 for 5, will we see more freshman total stats for the season than years past, along with more freshmen getting time? The strength of schedule makes it seem more unlikely.
I think that's the toughest coaching job Steve Sarkisian and the staff have. I think you're going to see less, And Bobby, you got to find a way to keep those guys engaged, because if you had last year's schedule with UTEP, Sam Houston, and San Jose, going into the season you can get the guys you want, the freshmen, snaps. On this schedule, unless you get out really fast against Texas State and UTSA, how many true opportunities are there going to be to get young kids on the field? You knew you could have 3 fourth quarters at least going into last year. This year, you probably have to, you better have to, you may have to. But Texas State and UTSA are not pushovers.
I don't have
for a while.
I don't have a feel whether it's going to be more or less with 5 for 5. I don't think Texas is actually, other than a couple of players here and there, I don't think Texas is planning for a lot of 5 for 5s. Now, they're, like I said, a couple, but I don't know that it's going to be what they strive for every year. I mean, I just thinking about it from a recruiting perspective, they want guys that want to be gone in 3 years. Not everybody, like not offensive linemen and stuff like that take a longer, but the skill position guys, that's what you want. You 3 and see ya, right? Because that means they're great. I'm interested to see where that heads. I don't have, as of right now, I don't know if it's going to mean more freshmen playing more or playing less. You know, the numbers would probably say that they play less as 5 for 5 proliferates, just because you now have, but really that was already few and far between with redshirt seniors. So it's not like that fundamentally changes everything. For me, at least. Not at a power program where at Texas you want every single player on your roster, or at least the starters, to be a real shot at the NFL.
Yeah. There's something I want to address before we get out of here. There you go, Dwayne. On this, because it is making some rounds. Because Kendall Weaver and Jordan Pope are part of this 55 years of eligibility, the lawsuit coming in basketball. One, I don't think those guys are going to win. One, but two, in the event they did, people have said, hey, would Texas bring back? I would just say this. No. Look, Texas has brought in Isaiah Johnson, Austin Gooseby as a freshman. I mean, Amari Evans, Mikey Lewis. I mean, they are Elijah Freeman. I mean, their roster, save one spot, is set. And that one spot ain't going to be a guard. That's what I would say. I mean, Texas, they brought in these guys as starters and guys who are going to have defined roles. The roster has been built. They are not going to – there's not time. Even if something crazy happened, there's not time for one of those guys at Tech. Texas has a minutes issue right now that they're going to have to work through on the roster. Now, they wouldn't bring in another guard that would expect to play 20-plus minutes because the minutes aren't there. Just to be clear on that, since those two guys did play on a Texas team last year and are part of that lawsuit. That's not happening at Texas.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Coffee and Football presented by Texas Road. We want to thank them, along with Zen AI, Prize Picks, I'm forgetting somebody, SeatGeek, and Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. Bobby, what do you have for folks later today?
Yeah, absolutely. Later today, we have the recruiting breakdown. Jerry's going to be talking about Easton Royal and Monshawn Sales and Landon Williams-Callis, as well as the Texas recruiting class as a whole. Then we also have the live stream later this evening. And I want to say this before we let y'all go. Blake's young man, Colt Monroe, has surgery here in about an hour. Colt, we'll be thinking about you. All right, we'll be thinking about you here and expecting your 99-cent super chats this evening. So, Blake, good luck to you and your family today, though, buddy. Seriously.
Well, here's a trivia of all time. Lakeway Elementary School in Lake Travis had 2 number 1 picks, Andrew Luck and Baker Mayfield. Lakeway Elementary School. Put the statue up. 2 first number 1 picks.
That's pretty good compared to Kyle Rote and Tommy Nobis at San Antonio Jefferson.
Somebody do that trivia. Does any other elementary school have 2 number 1 picks?
Jerry, I give up.
All right. Well, we, of course, will be back same time, same place tomorrow. We hope you all have an outstanding day today. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.